Okay, newbie question, should you be using training mode? Let's have a look at some of the pros and cons. Okay, thanks for the question there, Stuart. It is one that comes up again and again, but unfortunately it sort of falls on deaf ears a lot of the time. Now, if you're starting or even early intermediate level of sort of like learning to trade, I would advise you use training mode because, let's put it this way. Do you want to learn comfortably or do you want to be fed a lot of financial pain as you learn? Now, a lot of people come into Betfair trading. It's no secret from the betting background. They start betting, then they try to learn to trade, they confuse the two, they blur the lines and then get frustrated in the process, which is quite understandable. But at the end of the day, it's like if you want to learn to trade, you need to commit and take it seriously and step away from the gambling, and one of the easiest ways to do that from the outset is just to say, hey, I'm going to use training mode for like 2-3 months, and that's it. Now, I've noticed in your question you said about the matching problem. We'll come to that in a second. So we'll talk about the different benefits and features and aspects of using training mode, all that kind of stuff. But quite honestly, why wouldn't you use training mode? I mean, it costs you nothing except your own time, obviously. Now, learning to trade is an experience that's going to take a bit of time. I've said it before, there is no magic beans or golden bullet or whatever you want to call it. You don't wake up the next day, or very few people do anyway. It may have happened at times, and it may have these aha moments where things turn around, although it's very rare that early on you go from nothing to making a load of money. So you have to invest some time anyway, so let it cost you your time and don't lose money in the process. Lose pretend money via the different training modes or practice modes, whatever software you use. The benefits are really quite clear. Obviously, one, it costs you nothing other than your software subscriptions for £5 a month or whatever it is. Two, it removes the emotion from your trading in the moment. And when you're learning to trade, you don't need that emotion. That is a big problem for many people, but you don't. That's just one problem you need to take away. So how can you look at the markets and understand what's happening, understand the interfaces, the functions of a market when the money picks up, what targets you want, what points you want to be targeting and exploiting, what biases you're going to be finding. If you can't deal with all that clearly when you've got emotion on the cards as well. So in using training mode, it isn't real money, there's far less emotion. Obviously that's a double-sided sword, because you might think after a while, you go down that gambling route of thinking you're making more than you actually are, because you're doing certain things you wouldn't do with real money. But at the end of the day, first and foremost is it removes emotion. It costs you nothing except your time, and it allows you to build up some kind of confidence in what you're actually doing or what you're hoping to be doing further down the line. So there's definitely some pros there, some positives. But on the downside, and the latter part of your question comes into this, there's a few double-edged swords and issues going on there. The first one being, if you're not using real money, you don't take it quite as serious. So you might get away with things at certain points which you wouldn't have done with real money, and it wouldn't have been wise to do with real money, but you got away with it, and the byproduct of that was you actually felt better, and you got this enhanced feeling of euphoria and thinking you're succeeding when you're not necessarily have made as much progress. So that's one issue. Two is the whole delusional thing, which if you've come from a betting background, and so many people do, they sort of like remember their big wins, and we've all got a friend like that, right? That shares every time they win, they run around screaming and telling everybody that they've won a load of money. But the reality is, behind closed doors, when it's a bit quieter, the one thing they're not telling everyone is about all their losses as well. So you don't want to get deluded and allow yourself to think like that just because you're using training mode and it isn't a real balance. And then the last part, which comes into, like you said with your question there, is the software is not 100% accurate using training mode. Okay, so why is it not 100% accurate? Now, the reason it's not 100% accurate is because when you think about it, these are fake bets that are just recorded by the software, have gone into the market. They're not actually expressed inside the market, and one of the contributing factors to price action and movement and certain reactions within the market is the actual money. So you're putting these ghost bets in, if you like, and they're not affecting the market how real money would, particularly if you're using stakes like £200, £400, £600. Now, That is a problem, and also there's the fact that, you know, when these ghost bets are recorded, you might have had a £200 order in, and when the market's gone down £50, it zips up your whole £200 order, which is probably what you're talking about there in the second part. So that is an issue, because it doesn't express 100% how the market would be, although it is there as a guide. So training mode is typically a little bit better if you're doing things like swing trading rather than scalping, because obviously scalping is more reliant on volume and money sat around those prices. But training mode certainly has its uses. There's a lot of upside, and it's definitely where people should be starting. So the advice is simple, really. I would say start with training mode. From there, you want to go to like £2 £5 stakes max, because you don't want all the emotional stuff creeping in, but you do need to sort of wean yourself onto using real money. And it may be a case of you lose a little bit at first, but you want to learn to lose and learn to sort of get a feel in the markets, know what you're doing and operating, and then potentially reach that stage where you're making a little bit of money on those small £2, £5, £10 stakes. And then only then, once you start to make some money, do you scale it up and start using more substantial stakes. So I hope that answers your question there fully. If that wasn't what you meant on the last part of the question there, then by all means, Stuart, drop us a comment below and let us know, mate, so I can follow up on this. But that's probably the best answer I can give you about using training mode early doors, and you know, the potential problems that you might have come across with that.